is there another league? He need to be in another league. This league too easy for him.
We all know what the only thing he doesn't have that will elevate him to the place he wants to be. It reminds me of Peyton Manning. It reminds me, Peyton early in his career won a bunch of MVPs, couldn't get over the one hump, right? Couldn't beat Brady, couldn't get past him in the playoffs.
Exactly right.
Is this the time? Is this the year that he does that? It was year 9 for Peyton when you guys won it. He had won 2 MVPs. This is year 7 for Lamar. He has won 2 MVPs. But if I'm Lamar Jackson, let Derrick Henry have the MVP. Win a Super Bowl, and you elevate to being one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
This the best Lamar we have ever seen.
Yo, Lamar Jackson is playing the best football out of anybody in the league. I don't care.
This is the best version of Lamar Jackson we have ever seen, and it is not even up for debate.
What we are watching now is he's a step ahead of everybody in the passing game.
He's playing the best of his. He's playing better than his first MVP.
And there were those who thought he should be a wide receiver instead of a quarterback, which is just utterly ridiculous.
So, with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens off to a historic start, all of the talk should be about Lamar Jackson being the best quarterback in the NFL. But of course, it's not. With Lamar taking his game to brand new heights, unforeseen by most when the Ravens drafted him back in 2018, Lamar Jackson is simply the best player, the best quarterback in the NFL. But of course, with this and the naysayers, and with everyone want to be proven right with their points, the talk is about Lamar's playoff failures.
I don't know if there's another quarterback you'd rather have until January.
And should he win the MVP? And the problem for me with this is, with any other quarterback, they would be celebrated for what they're doing, the career highs, the leading the league in passer rating, especially for a quarterback coming out of college that no one thought could be a legitimate quarterback. But no. Of course, the talk has to be about, well, you know, he can do it in the regular season, but what about the postseason? And this one gentleman here, and I call him gentleman lightly,
MVP can't get to the Super Bowl. I mean, maybe he will get to the Super Bowl. In fact, he has a great chance this year. But they were dominant last season, right? So yeah, I have a problem. Like, don't give him MVP. Even if he earns it this year, give it to somebody else. That's what I would say.
This man has the audacity to say, even if Lamar deserves to win the MVP, he shouldn't win it. I don't know if you want to call it racism, placism. I don't know what to call it, but it just sounds ludicrous to me that you get people in front of a mic that claim to be intelligent individuals and they come out and say things in the heat of the moment. If he deserves to win the MVP, don't give it to him anyway. That just blows my mind. And I know for some the talk is, well, Derrick Henry has made Lamar better. How about Lamar made Lamar better? Because even in the game on Monday night against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they ran Derrick Henry 4 times, and the Ravens scored 17 straight points in the first half.
First and goal. Wide open and a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't due to Derrick Henry. Late in the fourth quarters, a lot of times Derrick Henry's on the bench. And I'm not taking anything away from Henry and what he does, because he brings a dynamic aspect to this team, and he does make Lamar Jackson's job a little bit easier. But Derrick Henry is not out there throwing these pinpoint passes all over the field. Now you take Lamar Jackson and you take Derrick Henry and you take a running game that was unfathomed by people when the season started. A lot of people thought that bringing Derrick Henry to the Ravens was going to do something to this run game and was going to make this team even that more dangerous. And he most certainly has. The Baltimore Ravens are the first team in NFL history to average 250 yards passing and 200 yards rushing per game. The Baltimore Ravens have outrushed each opponent by at least 100 yards in each game this season. And in total, they have outrushed each and every team by a combined 997 yards. You heard that right. That is not their total for the season through 7 games. That is how much they've outrushed their opponents by. But with all this being said, the question is, can Lamar Jackson and his elevated game translate to the postseason and win the Baltimore Ravens a Super Bowl? Of course, we have in the way Vader in Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, but the Baltimore Ravens look a little bit different than they did during the first game of the year. Yes, Lamar did his thing in the first game, some things he may have wanted back, but ever since then, Lamar Jackson has taken his game to a whole nother level.
You go through us. Or, more accurately, we go through you.
Now, not only did Lamar do his thing on Monday, where he was 17 of 22 for 281 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And he just missed out on another perfect passer rating. So for the season, Lamar is leading the league in passer rating with 118 passer rating. And if you thought that was impressive, the rest of his stats are mind-blowing, especially for a quarterback that no one thought could pass. He's completing 68.2% of his passes for 1,810 yards to go along with 15 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And those 2 interceptions bounced off of his own players' hands. So if theoretically they would have caught those, he'd have none on the season. But I'll take a 15-2 touchdown to interception ratio any day of the year. And then when you think that was not enough, you even go back to Monday night, where Lamar Jackson had another Jackson 5, to which we Baltimore Ravens fans know what a Jackson 5 is, and most people around the world, but somebody on Twitter was like, I don't understand slang. And that just goes to show you the mentality of people. They think that everything's being said is slang, it's ebonics. They just don't understand sports references.
I said, oh boy, what?
But we all know that the haters are going to do anything that they can to diminish what Lamar Jackson doing and take the heat off of their quarterback. But for his career, Lamar has a 20-0 touchdown to interception ratio on Monday Night Football. What other quarterback can say that they have those numbers? Your favorite quarterback, can he say that he's passed for 20 touchdowns and 0 interceptions? When the lights shine brightest, Lamar Jackson shows out. So when we start having these discussions about who should the MVP be, who is the front runner, Lamar Jackson really doesn't care.
It was about me just trying to win each and every game I'm in. And same thing from now. You know, I'm still trying to win these games to get to February and win in February.
All this young man cares about is winning. He cares about getting a Super Bowl and bringing a title back to Baltimore.
I mean, we're trying to win. I'm trying to win. Don't care about the hype.
Now, you have other fan bases that after one good game want to say, oh yeah, back in the MVP race, look at this. You can't touch my quarterback. And that's fine and dandy. But we're not worried about MVPs over here. We are worried about winning a championship, and that's what the game should be about. I understand you want to get your quarterback the recognition that he deserves, especially if he is one of the better players in the NFL. But if all you're concerned with is who won the MVP or who should the MVP be, that is very telling to what your franchise is all about.
Is he though?
But to answer the question, do I think Lamar's game will translate in the postseason? For the first time in his career, I do think that Lamar Jackson passing may be the difference in the postseason success, because Lamar Jackson used to struggle versus the blitz. We all remember the Miami Dolphins game when Brian Flores was the head coach and they just zero blitzed us to death and we didn't have a clue. Now, when you blitz Lamar, he is dicing teams up. So if you try that come postseason, it's not going to work. Lamar even said himself that the game is slowing down for him.
I just say everything's just slowing down. That's what's happening.
Now, in his 7th year, he is able to go up to the line, read the defense, especially having the time to read the defense, and tear them apart. His deep ball accuracy has improved. He's throwing outside the numbers. All of the things that people said he could not do before, he is doing right now. So how do you defend this guy? Lamar can become the first quarterback in NFL history to pass for 4,000 yards and rush for 1,000. He's already the only one that has done it with 3,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing. And the crazy part to this one is he's not even trying to run. He's top 10 in passing. He's top 11 in rushing. So how are teams going to defend him? Now, the Ravens do have to get some things figured out on the defensive end. I understand that with the trade deadline coming up, other teams are building up their rosters, but we're not worried about what other teams are doing. We're worried about what we have going on here. With Zay Flowers becoming the number 1 and Rashad Bateman finally showing his potential, and then you mix in a little bit of the tight ends, this Ravens offense looks unstoppable. And that's without even hammering Derrick Henry for 4 quarters. So I know people are going to go back and say, well, last season you were the number 1 team, the number 1 seed, and we saw what happened. Yes, but this is a different version of the Baltimore Ravens, and I think that they finally figured out what their identity is. And more importantly, the one thing that I never thought would happen in my lifetime was the Baltimore Ravens under John Harbaugh figured out how to throw a screen pass, and they are doing it with deadly precision. It is amazing for me to see them run a successful screen. Not only is it successful, they have thrown for touchdowns from the screen game. They're gaining first downs. We remember times when the Ravens used to throw screens and lose yardage. Everyone looked clumsy out there, and it just seems like the offense did not know what it was doing. So this element added to the Ravens' arsenal is definitely going to help the team out come the postseason. And Lamar, to me, is just a better player. He is a better leader. He is taking control of this team like he has not before. Before, it was lead by example. Watch me and follow what I do. But now it is do as I say and do as I do. So all of these teams get it. You can have confidence in what you are doing, but I'm telling you right now, Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are coming.
Nah, man, I'm cool.